Also, they clicked Sacred Sword into the or the Koraidon slot, so they might not have Play Rough. Let's see. Oh, they do. Okay. But, well, Regulation I has certainly gotten going now. This past weekend featured major tournaments all over the world, including 3 that we're going to take a look at today. I have the winning teams from the Utrecht special event, the Santiago Regional Championship, and the Melbourne Regional Championship. I think this is the first time I've done multiple teams in one video like this for tournament teams, but we are getting to the end of what I'm going to cover of this season, and I want to make sure that I don't skip any of these. And if I think this goes well, maybe I'll reuse something like this format in the future when there are a bunch of events going on. But yeah, 3 teams for today, and personally, I consider the last one, well, it's the one that looked the most interesting to me at a glance, at least. But we are going to start here with the Utrecht special event. Michael Kelsch proving once again that he might really be Michael Der Beste. And this is a Shadow Rider, an Ice Rider Miraidon team with a support duo that I find very interesting early in this format in Incineroar and Grimmsnarl, and then 2 other very powerful attackers rounding things out in the Landorus and the Rapid Striker Shifu. Landorus on an Ice Rider Miraidon team is also very interesting to me. It's something that I was thinking about very early in the format before I kind of just didn't prioritize trying to build Ice Rider Miraidon, but I do like that ground, ice, electric offensive trio. And then, of course, Rapid Striker Shifu is just one of the strongest Pokemon ever. So there's not a whole lot more to say about that. For all 3 of the teams today, I don't have the exact EV spreads of their creators. Honestly, I don't always even look for them now because very often these things are released on Twitter, and I got rid of my Twitter account several months ago. Highly recommend doing that, by the way. But because this team was featured on screen from the Player 1 perspective during the Utrecht stream, I do at least have the HP stats for all of the Pokemon. Some of them have more bulk than I would have guessed, so the EV spreads are a little bit more faithful for this team than they are for some others because I have that little bit more information. But let's just go ahead and try to blast through some opposing teams here. Well, not blast through exactly because I forgot to log in. Because this is, to some extent, a team with bulk and screens that will try to outlast opponents as well. Normally I play until 3 losses, but because I'm featuring 3 teams this time, I think I'm just going to get 3 games with each of them for a total of 9 games. That seems nice, and if there's one that I'm especially enjoying, I can add another game or 2. But yeah, regardless of outcome, I think I'll just play 3 games, and then we'll look at the Santiago Regional. And then again, a really interesting looking team that won the Melbourne Regional. I don't entirely understand that one, but we'll get there. So, what do we have first here? We have Koraidon, Fluttermane, Incineroar, Lunala, Amoonguss, and Ursaluna. Okay. So they have a couple of Pokemon that make Miraidon's life a little bit harder. This is also a Leech Seed Ice Rider Calyrex, so yeah, very much intended to wear down opposing teams. I mean, I feel like with this team, I know in the stream sets Michael was often leading Incineroar Miraidon, Volt switching out, and that makes sense. I also don't hate Incineroar Grimmsnarl lead into some matchups. It's Assault Vest Incineroar, by the way, so it has U-turn instead of Parting Shot. That's the main impact of that. It also has Flare Blitz. A lot of them don't know, but it's not like you're running Will-O-Wisp or Helping Hand or something with this, because the Assault Vest would shut that down. I think getting more screens could be very powerful here, though. I also don't know the item on the Koraidon. It could be Clear Amulet, but it could also not, so that'll obviously determine whether it's susceptible to Intimidate. I like her Shifu in this matchup, I think. Not into the Koraidon, but into a lot of the other Pokemon. The only Pokemon that I don't really see much of a case for here is Landorus, but obviously somebody else has to not come to this. I actually think I'm going to leave Miraidon behind for this one. Maybe a controversial choice, but I'm going to lead with these, get my screens up, and I'll go Calyrex and Urshifu in the back. We'll see if that mode really even makes any sense. Please excuse me if I sound a little weird. The seasonal allergies are really hitting so far this season. Mostly this year they're just making my eyes water a lot, but you know, the other stuff is happening too. It is not Clear Amulet Koraidon, so it is intimidated here. With that in mind, I think I will set... it's Assault. Vested. Is Grimmsnarl going to take a hit from the Flutter Mane, though? I'm trying to think about which screen to set first. I'll set the light screen first. And I can fake out Koraidon this turn, and then go for my Reflect. Actually switch in there Incineroar, okay. Rocky Helmet. Yeah, Grimmsnarl is about to drop to another Moonblast, but I'll go for my Reflect anyway. And sorry, again. Let's just try to Flare Blitz this Flutter Mane. I know I'm at -1 attack, but we are in Sun. I did take something for the allergies, but I'm not sure it's kicked in yet. Okay, they fake out Incineroar, knock out Grimmsnarl. Alright. I am maybe putting myself too far behind in the early game here, but find out. Can I just Terra Water Calyrex and start attacking? I really don't hate that here. It's Leftovers Calyrex, not Clear Amulet. I have to keep that in mind. I guess I should Trick Room before I start attacking. I will once again, though, try to see if I can Flare Blitz this Flutter Mane. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I should have, probably U-turned. Okay, that does get Flutter Mane nice and low, though, so it is pretty free Glacial Lance fodder, I would think. And I actually don't want to U-turn on the... I'll knock off on their Incineroar so I can Surging Strike it. Let Incineroar take a bit of Rocky Helmet chip so that Urshifu doesn't take a whole bunch. But I do think I'm kind of throwing away resources recklessly this game, and I'm probably going to lose because of that. But I'll try not to. There's the Lunala. It could have Wide Guard. So I think what I'm going to do is try to Leech Seed it. And this Flutter Mane is so tempting for my Glacial Lance, but I think I should just snipe it with the Incineroar. Ah, they switched their Incineroar back in. Okay. Fairy on the Lunala. I don't think I'm about to see a Wide Guard. In Open Team Sheet, obviously, I would know if they have Wide Guard. But here I just tried to cover for it. I mean, I guess Glacial Lance wasn't doing a ton in that position anyway. I am now down to just Calyrex and Urshifu. I do think I've played this pretty badly, but the good news is with the Leech Seed on Lunala, now the only way I can get rid of the seeds is by switching out. The problem is I have my Fighting type stuck on the field, unable to Terrastalize. Choice specs. I might want to lock into Aqua Jet, but that's not good into Koraidon. But I hopefully I have enough for Koraidon just with the Calyrex. I'm going to click Glacial Lance, and yeah, what am I locking Urshifu into for the rest of the game? I don't hate Aqua Jet. No, Surging Strikes. Okay. Yeah, see, it just gets knocked out by Moonblast, and now Calyrex has to solo their team or I lose. So I definitely didn't play this one quite right, but I mean, they're not going to enjoy taking this Glacial Lance. The problem is when my screens wear off. Also, that Glacial Lance isn't that strong. They've gotten a lot of drops into Calyrex because it doesn't have a Clear Amulet, but it also doesn't have the leftovers at this point. Yeah, it gets a lot of damage. I'll throw in a... I'll use this last turn of Light Screen to click Glacial Lance. Maybe I need the recovery from a Protect, but it does feel like I'm kind of throwing my screens away. They actually protect the Flutter Mane there. I'm not going to get any more recovery because Leech Seed is gone, but I will protect around a Fake Out here anyway. This is where Miraidon would have... Well, this goes to show how useful Miraidon would have been. They didn't bring a Moongus or Ursaluna, so their only electric resist here was Koraidon. And Charm. And if I had the offensive pressure that Miraidon brings, then I would have been in a much better position. Instead, my support Pokemon just kind of couldn't do very much to help the Calyrex out. Maybe a crit Lunala here. And Urshifu was just really badly positioned. But if I'd had the pressure on them from the start with Miraidon, then it would have been a different game. So leaving the second restricted behind was not the call this time. As Calyrex does go down there, we'll get another game. Okay, Incineroar, Shadow Rider, Calyrex, Chi-Yu, Farigiraf, Iron Hands, and Miraidon. This also... Landorus looks really good here. Landorus is very strong into most of their team. I don't have Sandsear Storm on this Landorus, but I also don't have Rain, so maybe that's for the best. A lot of these don't want to take an Earth Power. I could maybe lead Incineroar Landorus, or maybe I learn my lesson and lead Incineroar Miraidon. That probably means I leave Grimmsnarl behind this game, but I don't think that's the end of the world. The Terra Water Ice Rider Calyrex is not so well positioned into Miraidon and Iron Hands. Open team sheets, okay. So they set their Dynamax levels on this team. We're playing Gen 8. I'll do Incineroar Miraidon lead. I'll bring Landorus. And do I even want Calyrex in this game? I think I'm a little bit... I have so many Ice Rider answers. Alright, I'll bring Urshifu. I'm going to not learn my lesson. I'll still leave her restricted behind this game, but it's going to be the other one. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so this Shadow Rider is surely faster than Miraidon, but this Miraidon has a fair bit of bulk. Let's see, U-turn. That's Life Orb too, not Focus Sash. The Sash is on the Chi-Yu, okay. U-turn and... I mean... They could fake out Miraidon. That's actually a problem. I don't have Protect, obviously. It's Specs, and I don't have Farigiraf. Let's knock off into the Calyrex, actually. And I'll just click Volt Switch and hope for the best. They protect the Pokemon that I double targeted. That's an interesting choice. Why did they do that? Are they looking for a parting shot into something? No? I don't know why they protected the Calyrex there. Instead of... Do they not have Fake Out? They do have Fake Out. Oh, man. Well, I guess I just don't know what play they expected me to make then. Well, let's try this again. Should work somewhat better now that they just used a Protect. Yeah, I don't know what they're cooking now. I could parting shoot something, but of course not before this Volt Switch comes out. They go Chi-Yu, okay. I don't think that's going to take the Volt Switch very well. Nope, that knocks it down to a Sash, so then Incineroar's knockoff will KO. I'll go... I'll go Urshifu here. Threaten their Incineroar. Terra Ghost, okay. That's good to keep in mind. Urshifu doesn't care about a parting shot, though, as long as I use Surging Strikes, because, of course, of the guaranteed crits. Okay, we see their Miraidon now. Urshifu does care about that. That's not a great thing for it to face, especially since I have Terra Ghost here, so... if I Terrestrialize, then the Shadow... I don't know that it helps into Miraidon anyway, but then the Shadow Rider becomes a serious problem. What's the item on Miraidon? Choice Scarf. Honestly, I'm not sure I want to knock that off, because if they lock into something that's bad into one of my Pokemon, or they even just lock into Draco Meteor and nerf themselves, you know, I might be able to use their Choice Lock against them is what I'm saying. And I'm running a slow Miraidon, so not likely to be faster than theirs even without its Scarf. So if I don't want to knock off, and I'm afraid of this bike, I do think that I have a relatively free switch. I'll U-turn into Miraidon. I do think I have a relatively free switch into Landorus here. Hopefully they go for Electric Attack at least. They do, but it's into Incineroar, so Miraidon does get off the field. Get the Calyrex back. Maybe I didn't want to U-turn out then. At least I chip it a little bit. And I'll go Miraidon here because I don't really have another Calyrex answer. Can I Dazzling Gleam now? I think their Miraidon might switch in, anticipating my Volt Switch. They don't have the Chi-Yu available anymore. Can I just Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam? Well, I'm going to, so hopefully I can. And I'll protect Landorus here. Oh, they Terra Water. Did they call me or something to do this? Protect Landorus. Just protect it from that damage so that it can be helpful into their Miraidon after this. Alright, the Calyrex is low, but Astral Barrage did enough to KO Miraidon. But I do have Fake Out and Aqua Jet in the back. I just have to figure out how to play this. I think I'm willing to sack Incineroar here. The problem is I don't think I can preserve both of these Pokemon, right? What do I do? Alright, I'm going to do this. I'm not sure it's correct, because I am letting Miraidon go down. But I think Landorus is... I don't think that crit mattered. I think Landorus is valuable into there. I forgot about the Life Orb. I don't need to Aqua Jet it. In that case, I probably could have sacked Urshifu instead of Miraidon. But yeah, I think Landorus is so valuable into there. Miraidon. I'll Surging Strike the Evil Cat here, Fake Out Miraidon, and then I just have to beat Miraidon with Landorus, basically. Maybe I should Close Combat the Evil Cat. Did they Terra yet? They did. Close Combat the Evil Cat in case I get a shot at their Miraidon. I'm not going to get a shot at their Miraidon anyway, right? Yeah, just need Landorus to beat Miraidon. I guess that depends to an extent on what they lock into. What do they have? They have Dazzling Gleam? No, they don't. So Landorus should be able to win this, right? Because I have to, if they lock into Draco Meteor, they have to take the special attack drop into something of mine here. Once again, I don't want to knock off the Choice Scarf. Yeah, because now they're stuck using Electro Drift and they always lose to Landorus. Alright, this was a tricky game, but I put it together in the end. I do often find these Kelch teams kind of tricky to position. They can be rewarding for sure. Well, I mean, especially if you're Debesta and you win a regional level event with one of these. Let's get one more with this team and then we move on to the next. Okay. Origin, Dialga, Ho-Oh, Ursaluna, Grimmsnarl, Indeedee, and Chandelure. So it's Trick Room stuff. That much, I think, is clear. What do I do about it? Well, I don't think I chicken out of bringing the Miraidon this time. Hang on, excuse me for a second. My nose was starting to really bother me there. Hopefully that's not audible. Maybe I'll do something about it if it is. Okay. Yeah, Miraidon. I could bring Grimmsnarl. I think screens could be pretty helpful here. Maybe I want Incineroar, actually. In the lead spot. I can knock off into these, unless it's Psychic Seed on one of them. No, I'm going to go with my first instinct and bring Grimmsnarl. And I'll bring Calyrex, and I can just do my two Restricteds with Grimmsnarl and Incineroar, actually. Let's do that. Maybe I want the Urshifu here, but one way to find out. Alright, so Dialga and Indeedee, they obviously get their terrain. It is Psychic Seed Indeedee. But I'll just Volt Switch out of here and set Light Screen. They don't have a physical attacker on the field right now, so a relatively simple screen choice. And let's go Incineroar. Let's not throw my Ice type into the Steel type just yet. Yeah, they Flash Cannon Grimmsnarl immediately, but I still will be able to get a Reflect. I'm pretty sure I can't knock off the Adamant Crystal. But knockoff should still hurt Indeedee, even without an item. I don't think it'll KO, probably, depending on their bulk, but damage into this is good. Get Reflect. Yeah, that almost KOs, not quite. I mean, I guess I'm looking to Terra the Calyrex here, right? That's how I deal with the Flash Cannon. This opponent doesn't have Intimidate, so that's kind of nice on this Clear Amulet-free Calyrex. I think I want to stay in with Incineroar, so I'll just knock off into Indeedee again. And I'll actually protect Calyrex this turn, around a possible Follow Me. I'd like to Leech Seed Dialga. Maybe I'd like to Glacial Lance it now that it... Well, it was always neutral too, Ice. But I think I'd like to Leech... Maybe I'd like to Glacial Lance Ursaluna. But I think Ursaluna probably protects to get its burn. And if not, I can knock off the Flame Orb here with Incineroar. So Terra Water, Leech Seed into Dialga. Maybe I needed to be reversing Trick Room, actually. Reversing Trick Room would have been a heads-up play there. It's not too late. The Trick Room's about to end anyway. Let's Flare Blitz the Ursaluna and protect Calyrex. They'll probably take the KO on Incineroar, but it's not like I can switch Miraidon into this. They don't get the KO. Alright. Alright, Draco Meteor the Calyrex. And here, they've used their Terra. They can't Terra the Ursaluna. They can protect and Trick Room. Let's just take what damage I can into Dialga here. Is that what I want? I don't have a better idea. Oh, they actually switch it out. Okay. I thought it was going to set Trick Room back up, but not this turn at least. Protecting is fine. They can use Sacred Fire to burn Calyrex. Let's just hope that they don't. No burn? It burns. It's a 50% chance. I guess slightly less accounting for the 5% chance to miss. But that's pretty rough. We do get Ho-Oh knocked out here, though, and we get a +1 with the Glacial Lance. So that Ursaluna is probably still in danger, right? And what I can do here is Electro Drift into Dialga, so that they can't safely set Trick Room. Let's click Glacial Lance. And the game ended, so yeah, it looks like this worked. Ursaluna is actually faster than Calyrex, or it's a speed tie, probably. But yeah, alright. Incineroar, Assault Vest Incineroar was able to sit on the field for a good while that game, and that meant that I could keep Miraidon in the back. And I definitely don't think I positioned that optimally, but I was able to bring it in when the Trick Room was gone, and then even with the burn, Miraidon plus Calyrex put out so much offensive pressure that they couldn't set Trick Room back up. So that was a pretty nice game with this team. I definitely enjoyed that one. Screens stalling out the Trick Room, the Leech Seed Calyrex making it harder for them to break through, and again, the positioning with Miraidon. I definitely think that a better player could have done it better, but having it available to prevent a second Trick Room is a lot of fun there. But now, it is time to move on to the second part of this triple header. This is the team that a player named Max Morales used to win the Santiago Regional Championship in Chile. And it is another Ice Rider Miraidon team, Specs Miraidon. Actually, the same Ice Rider, too. At least the same moves and Terra type. Also supported by Screen's Grimmsnarl, but instead of an Incineroar this time, we have Volcarona with Rage Powder for redirection, Struggle Bug to weaken special attackers, Rocky Helmet to weaken physical attackers in a different way, and it can also set Tailwind, so this one is a Tail Room team. And then we have Iron Hands, very powerful, very bulky with the Assault Vest, powered up by the Electric Terrain, nothing unusual there. And we have Ursaluna able to go nuts in Trick Room. So a little bit more, not more offensive, but different in terms of its offensive composition. Maybe a little bit more steered into the Trick Room stuff. Although, again, this team has Tailwind and the Kelch one doesn't. So I guess it's just dynamic offense with slower Pokemon. And then the Volcarona is an interesting support Pokemon right now. This team does have the one sort of tricky thing that a lot of Trick Room teams have right now, where Iron Hands, Ice Rider, Calyrex, and Ursaluna all have the same base speed stat, so if you don't do anything about that, then they're speed tying. I don't know what is actually standard with those Pokemon. What I have done here is made Calyrex slower than Ursaluna, which is slower than Iron Hands. That's a little bit arbitrary. I did want to make Calyrex the slowest of the three because that way in Trick Room it goes first, and it can pick off weakened opponents and get those Chilling Neigh boosts before Ursaluna or Iron Hands knocks them out instead. But yeah, Ursaluna versus Iron Hands, I don't know, I just picked one. This Ursaluna doesn't have Earthquake, by the way, it has Crunch. So that'll help me deal with things like Lunala and Shadow Rider Calyrex, presumably. But anyway, pretty straightforward team for the most part. Let's see, and again, kind of similar to the one that won Utrecht, but with some different choices in the builder. Let's see what happens. And right off the bat, we get the Scraggy team that's going around. I'll probably try to feature that one soon. James Beck has a long video with it already, but this team got, I think, 2nd place in the Thailand Master Ball League, which is, I think, basically the national championship for Thailand. But I haven't looked super closely at how it works right now. I think it's basically pretty standard Ice Rider, Miraidon, but the Scraggy has coaching to boost the Ice Rider or the Hands or the Treads, and it has Endeavor. So if the Scraggy gets weakened but not KO'd, can't remember what its Terra type is. That might matter with Dazzling Gleam Miraidon here. But yeah, it's Eviolite Scraggy, and if it gets weakened, it can do big damage with the Endeavor. What do I do into this? I like Grimmsnarl here. I think I like Screens. And then I don't know, can I just do Trick Room stuff? Problem is they have Trick Room stuff too. Let's bring Miraidon, let's bring Ice Rider, and let's bring Iron Hands. I don't know what to do, just default to strong Pokemon, I guess. We're going to see the Scraggy immediately here. But these two Pokemon that I've brought don't really care about being intimidated. I'll just go for Reflect, and I would love to delete this Scraggy from existence, but it's not like I know my Scraggy calcs. You know what? Let's just see what happens with a Volt Switch. Let's try it. They fake out Miraidon. I forgot that it has Fake Out. But that makes perfect sense. Yeah, they get a free Trick Room out of that too. So that's Scraggy is actually a really good support for the Ice Rider Calyrex. It's a very cool attack. And you can see why it did well in a major event. But I do have Reflect now, so that's a little bit of an advantage. The problem is I have no way to keep up with their coaching. And I need to get Miraidon out of here, I think. Do I? Or can I just Terra Fairy Dazzling Gleam, actually? It is kind of throwing Miraidon away, but most of this team is worse matchups for Miraidon than these two anyway. What am I going to do with my Ice Rider? I'm just going to fall behind when they start coaching. So I'm just going to Dazzling Gleam here. Yep, there's a coaching. Glacial Lance, but I do have the Reflect. And that wipes out the Scraggy. It does big damage to the Calyrex, so I don't know if that's going to be enough, but yeah, I feel like I was just stuck if I switched Miraidon out there. I could Thunder Wave their Calyrex. That does give it the speed advantage over my Calyrex in Trick Room, but it could be fully paralyzed. Alternatively, I could Spirit Break. I mean, I might as well go for cheese, right? No, because it's going to take a KO here. I don't think I'm switching Miraidon out. Maybe I should. I think I'm sacking Miraidon here. So do I want it to be at +2 and underspeed me? I don't think so. Yeah, they take 2 KOs here. And it's Calyrex, Iron Hands, Mirror, but they still have another Pokemon on the back, and I don't. And also their Calyrex is at +2. It's Glacial Lance, I guess. And, I mean, I can Fake Out this turn. That's something. Should I Leech Seed? I don't think so. And Protect, makes sense. You know what? I actually could have Thunder Waved them and then protected through this last turn of Trick Room. Oh well. Glacial Lance and low kick and pray. Fire. Okay. And it doesn't really make a difference to the matchup spread here, or to the type, yeah, spread here. It resisted. All right. Well, here's the thing. Trick Room's over. I think my Calyrex is faster than theirs. I don't think I'm running min speed, even though it is slower than Iron Hands. Hopefully I'm remembering that correctly. But I am obviously in rough shape here. Iron Hands goes first. Maybe I should have clicked Fake Out there, actually, so that Iron Hands wouldn't attack and Calyrex could take 2 KOs. But it still takes 1 KO, gets +1. And their last Pokemon is Farigiraf. Do you have Foul Play? Under base power, that's fine. Do you have Foul Play? Yes. Okay. But I protected through that one, and so I still have my 2 Pokemon here. Iron Hands moved after Farigiraf, but still, I don't think Farigiraf beats Iron Hands from here. Yeah, they get the KO on Calyrex, but survive that. But do you have a KO into Iron Hands now? No, not with that Assault Vest. So this one looked pretty dicey, especially when the Scraggy got going. That is actually a really cool support Pokemon on this team, and I definitely want to try this team out. And I'm pretty sure I will soon. But we did get the win there. But the screen's coming in clutch for sure. Alright, this is different. Kyogre, Miraidon, Whimsicott, my favorite Pokemon, Gengar, but I'll still try to beat it here. Meowstic and Clefairy. So a ton of supports here for some kind of special attacking mode, obviously. They've got Tailwind available, they've got Meowstic can set screens maybe. It can run Fake Out, it can set Rain back up with Prankster Rain Dance, or Skill Swap. It obviously can't do everything in one set, but there are a lot of possibilities. And then of course the Clefairy has the redirection and Friend Guard stuff. So this person looks like they want to win games with Kyogre. I think Terra Water Calyrex is pretty reasonable to throw at that. I also like Miraidon here. I like Iron Hands here. I think I'm going to bring the same Pokemon as last game. And maybe I'm sleeping on something. I mean, I'm focused more on the Kyogre here than the Miraidon, but I'm actually in some danger here because they do potentially have Fake Out pressure with the Meowstic. I think I'm going to hard switch to Iron Hands. Maybe that's kind of risky. I could Terra Fairy, but I might. Right now I'm thinking I might want to save my Terra for Calyrex. So I'm going to switch to Iron Hands and go for Light Screen. They could Fake Out Grimmsnarl and take a KO on it before I get my screens up, but that's not the end of the world. No, they Fake Out the Miraidon slot. They actually crit the Fake Out, but it's not a huge deal. Maybe I... Oh, they don't have a Farigiraf on this team. I can Fake Out their Miraidon. And as much as I'd like to Volt Switch, I think I'm just going to Electro Drift that slot. If they let me KO Miraidon. Okay, they don't. If they did, that would be very nice. Do have screens of their own. Yeah, this one could be a problem. Well, I potentially have a chance here to get Calyrex going. Oh! I Electro Drifted into the Meowstic slot, thinking Whimsicott's not that threatening, I can leave it on the field for now. And that actually means I get an Electro Drifted and Miraidon on the switch in. It doesn't KO because of the light screen, but I like to see that. Unfortunately, I still want to Terrasilize both of my Pokemon, and unfortunately I can't. I'm just going to count on Miraidon to take this Dazzling Gleam with the light screen in place. Yeah, it does. Oh, but they can double into it. Okay, I didn't cover for that. That's an error by me, but there's Glacial Lance here. And I'll kick this slot. I think the Miraidon might switch out. You don't want to let it take fake out Glacial Lance, right? Maybe I'd catch Kyogre or something on the switch in. They locked me into Protect. I didn't properly cover for the Encore. I do keep having trouble with that sometimes. It's a tricky move. Alright, I don't think we win this one. Maybe I needed to be willing to Terra Miraidon in this game. But especially once I'd let my non-Calyrex Pokemon get weakened. I think I was too afraid of the Kyogre in the back. I think I respected it more than I needed to. And I didn't properly deal with this very obvious threat right in front of me. That said, I will KO the Miraidon here. Calyrex is out of the Encore lock, but of course Whimsicott can put it right back in. Nope, it's Kyogre. Okay. Well, I do get to Terra Water in front of Kyogre and go for Leech Seed now. Actually, let's Trick Room first. No, it doesn't matter because Iron Hands has to take a hit anyway, so let's Leech Seed and just Wild Charge. Oh, Iron Hands does take the hit. And it actually just one-shots the Kyogre. Yeah, okay. I could have used the Terra Fairy on Miraidon then. Oh! Leech Seed also kind of screws me because the Whimsicott can Encore lock me. I guess I Protect here. Because it's marginally better to be locked into that. But yeah, I didn't play this right in the end. But I didn't think that... Honestly, I didn't think that Iron Hands would... They have Thunderbolt on the Meowstic? What in the world? Well, I guess getting locked into Protect, at least I'll avoid the damage sometimes. I didn't think that I underestimated the bulk on my own Iron Hands there. I thought the Kyogre would knock it out. But yeah, there's definitely a better way to play that turn. Anyway, we'll play out this end game. Because I cannot be bothered to think through how it actually ends, but it looks pretty doomed. And I am wearing down the Meowstic. And struggle from Ice Rider Calyrex is going to hit pretty hard, isn't it? Once we get there. They have Taunt? I guess we're about to get there. Would have liked the Meow... Oh, well... What happens now? I'm taunted, which means I can only click Glacial Lance. Can they Encore me into Protect? I don't get to find out, as I do get my Glacial Lance here. I guess they didn't want to play out that endgame. Fair enough. It's not an especially fun one, but that is actually another win with this team. Even as I didn't play some of those positions quite right. Last game with this team, we've got Miraidon, Fluttermane, Whimsicott, Ditto, Raging Bolt, and Groudon. So, Groudon is interesting. I feel like North American players especially have been saying Groudon is washed, but I do see it popping up occasionally in the results from other regions. What's your Terra Fairy Miraidon answer? Go faster with Whimsicott Tailwind and your own Terra Fairy Miraidon? That's not a bad answer, actually. But I could do like Grimmsnarl, Miraidon, Iron Hands. Probably just bring my other restricted. Let's see. Let's play some Pokemon. Just go straight for the Terra Fairy button this game. Oh, it's Terra Ground Fluttermane. I think that's a new one to me. I mean, I've seen like Ground Chiyu and Ground Shadow Rider before, so I guess... Charge. Well, that explains it. Alright, this one might be a little bit doomed. Maybe not, though. I still have Brian here. I think it makes more sense to target the Fluttermane first. Oh, it's a ground type now. I don't know if Heavy Slam was the right choice. It's probably pretty light though, right? I don't actually know. Volpera again. Do get rid of the Flutter Mane. But yeah, the Miraidon was presumably locked into Discharge. That's why I didn't think I needed to prioritize it with Iron Hands there. Now it could do something else. And there's not really a whole lot I can do to stop it. A Draco Meteor into Groudon would be nice, but otherwise, I don't think I'm going to get that, and otherwise I think I count on them to miss their Precipice Blades. Which they don't do. Alright, well, this was a quick game. I wasn't ready for that Discharge tech. That's cool. I mean, Discharge isn't some crazy tech move on Miraidon. They've been running it since we first found out that Miraidon is good in the first place, but yeah, they got me with the ground. Why did they make this play? That just gives me their Miraidon for free. What do they have in the back? Oh, is it Ditto? Yeah, it is. Okay. Huh. Even so, this actually might be winnable. Never mind, it's not. Okay. That just KOs. Alright. What was I saying? I don't remember. We're going to move on to the third team. This is the team that won the Melbourne Regional Championship. I've played back-to-back Ice Rider Miraidon teams, and now this one is Shadow Rider Koraidon. So both the Crown Tundra and the Paldea region are well represented today. It's Ability Shield Koraidon, and I think I've heard that it's a slow one, so I have put that in the builder. It's paired with Weezing, so both restricted Pokemon here are unaffected by Weezing. The Calyrex, for some reason, as one, ignores neutralizing gas, so it's always unaffected, and then the Koraidon has the Ability Shield, so it gets his Orichalcum Pulse. I have used Ability Shield Koraidon with Weezing on the channel before. I do kind of enjoy it because it gets the jump on things like Miraidon that are almost certainly not running the Ability Shield. But yeah, this one on bulkier than I usually do with Koraidon, and hopefully I'll be finding openings to click that Flame Charge. I think the Calyrex can help with that because it's extremely fast and it has Encore, which could be a... Obviously this is from a best of 3 tournament, but it could be a fun surprise tech in best of 1 for sure. What's interesting is they didn't choose just one Fire and Dark type on this team. We see the Incineroar and the Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu obviously here for big offense. Pairs nicely with Koraidon because Koraidon sets the sun and boosts Chi-Yu's damage, and they complement each other pretty well in terms of their attacking coverage. And also pairs nicely with the Shadow Rider Calyrex because of Beads of Ruin powering up those Astral Barrages and Psychics. So Chi-Yu makes a lot of sense on this team. Then we have Incineroar in more of a support pivoting role. This one does have Parting Shot. It also has Protect, and I have no idea why it has that, but maybe we'll figure it out. And then there's an Assault Vest Walking Wake, giving this team some water type power even with the Koraidon. Aqua Jet Walking Wake is interesting. It gives it some priority. But otherwise... yeah, I guess it's just here to round out the coverage of the team, but I don't necessarily know what the Assault Vest is for, and I have almost certainly gotten its EV spread wrong. I'm pretty confident of that, but I don't have a better idea. And then the Weezing set is kind of unusual too. A lot of Weezing try to spread poison damage with moves like Poison Gas and Toxic Spikes, but this one has Will-O-Wisp, Taunt, and it has physical damage with Play Rough. So I really don't know what went into the building of this team, but it did win a regional, and we're going to give it a go right now, and probably... I'll keep it simple and try to just blast things with Astral Barrage, Koraidon Blast, and Chi-Yu Blast, but we'll see. First team has Zamazenta, Shadow... okay, open team sheets immediately, sure. Zamazenta, Shadow Rider, Calyrex, Tornadus, Rapid Striker, Shifu, Rillaboom, and Chanpao, Life Orb Chanpao. The sash is on the Shadow Rider. Okay. What do I do? I guess Incineroar is valuable to an extent into opposing Shadow Rider because, of course, they also ignore neutralizing gas. It is actually kind of tricky to just throw the Shadow Rider at this team. I don't think I can. But I could lead Koraidon with Scarf Chi-Yu. That looks pretty strong here. I'll bring the Shadow Rider. And I could bring Incineroar to this. I could definitely bring both Chi-Yu and Incineroar to this matchup. So I will. Don't know if I have enough for the Urshifu now, but we'll see. They lead Tornadus Calyrex, so they can immediately Tailwind and Astral Barrage. But I can click Heat Wave or I can click Snarl. They also have their Dynamax levels. Is that just... Are team sheets just showing Dynamax levels by default? Okay. Well, if anyone Dynamaxes in this game, we'll both be ready. Do I want to click Snarl or Heat Wave? I think I want to click Heat Wave because that covers switches better, and it should do a ton of damage anyway. I'll Terra Fire, and I will Flame Charge Calyrex slot. Okay, it protects. Fair enough. Oh, if I'd Flame Charged Tornadus, I would have just taken a KO without it setting Tailwind. Oh well. Protect protect Koraidon here. It's kind of in danger against their Calyrex. Flame Charging Tornadus would have been great there though. And I did consider it for a second. Honestly, I was kind of scared off by the Rocky Helmet. Otherwise, I might have done it. Terra Ghost, their Calyrex, so they're going to get big damage with that Astral Barrage. They also Rain Dance. Okay. Tornadus is knocked out here. Sorry. I opened Instagram. Can't help myself. What did it, okay. Astral Barrage did a lot to Chi-Yu, but it's not a 2-hit KO. Or this doesn't look like one. Okay, Rillaboom. Ooh, Rillaboom is a problem, obviously, because Chi-Yu can't protect. Do I just hard switch Incineroar in here? But then... Do I just lose? Maybe. I am running max speed Shadow Rider, but they probably are too. I think the line here is actually that I sack something, probably Chi-Yu. Then, no, wait. Wait, they never set Tailwind, right? No, they didn't. I sack something, and hopefully I win my speed tie with my Shadow Rider. I think I do have to sack Chi-Yu. No, it's not even necessarily a sack, but I think I do have to potentially sack Chi-Yu. I'll hard switch to Incineroar here. Maybe there's a safer way to do this because of the Scarf on the Chi-Yu. Do get my Heat Wave though. They fake out the Koraidon slot. Chi-Yu actually takes that Astral Barrage reasonably well, so this might not be a sack after all. Except I can't really switch anyone in here, so I just click Heat Wave and I probably lose Chi-Yu anyway, but I'll click Knockoff into the Calyrex and maybe they'll try to avoid that. They actually just protect it here. Do they have high horsepower? No. They U-turn into Incineroar, they crit. Get Zamazenta, presumably with Wide Guard. It does have Wide Guard. But again, I don't feel like I'm in a safe position to switch this Chi-Yu out. Maybe a better player, they don't Wide Guard anyway. Maybe a better player would, well, play this better. Oh, they're going to knock out Incineroar with the Zamazenta. I just played right into that. Yeah. Maybe I got two in my head about this, but I don't know. It was a tough position. I will get my Sun back up here. And yeah, I'm just going to go for this probably speed tie. I mean, if they're anything less than max speed Shadow Rider, it's not a speed tie. But if it is a speed tie, so be it. Quick Psychic, because they can use Wide Guard to stop my Astral Barrage. And I mean, either that KOs or it doesn't. I'll just go for Flame Charge into Zamazenta. Okay, they win the speed tie. They knock out Koraidon. And that is going to be GG, I think. They tried to body press Koraidon too. Maybe they weren't confident in winning the speed tie. Well, I'll try to play this out. I'll protect here to get around the priority Grassy Glide. Then I'll click Astral Barrage. They're not clicking Wide Guard. Might as well try to take advantage of that. I actually crit the Zamazenta, but it's still not enough So I do lose this one. Yeah, I got really stuck with that Chi-Yu clicking Heat Wave in the rain. Maybe I needed to somehow sack Koraidon and get my Sun back up, and then I might just have had enough damage with the Chi-Yu. But anyway, we'll go for another game here. And then another one after that. And then I think this video will be plenty long by then. Whoa, this is a cool rain team. Kyogre, Zacian, Amoonguss, Tornadus, Landorus, and Beartic. Beartic, of course, physical attacking ice type with Swift Swim, so it does add a new dimension to a rain team that they don't otherwise have. I don't know that it's good, but it's a really cool Pokemon to see on a team like this. But this team really wants rain up, so I think I want to bring Koraidon, but also I can't just rely on Koraidon to control the weather. Walking Wake is probably good here. AV Walking Wake into Landorus. Really only into Landorus. You know what I can do? I can lead Calyrex, Weezing, make it hard for them to set rain up that way. They won't even have Prankster on their Tornadus. Koraidon. And my last Pokemon is... I could see a case for Incineroar or Walking Wake here. Incineroar, of course, can intimidate Zacian and Beartic. Unless it's Clear Amulet Beartic. I don't think Walking Wake is actually that good here. I think it's basically just good into Landorus. Let's bring Incineroar. Maybe that's overstating it with Walking Wake, but even so. See, they're not going to get rain immediately, at least. They might be able to click Rain Dance with the Tornadus, but not before they take an Astral Barrage. And actually, can I taunt Tornadus? No, it's definitely faster than Weezing. Let's just click a Play Rough into Kyogre. Get as much damage as I can on that. Actually, I should probably protect Weezing this turn. Because if they click Rain Dance, then Kyogre will attack before Weezing can move, and that could be big damage. Yeah, let's protect Weezing. Terra Dark Tornadus. Whoops, okay. Hopefully that's just for stopping Prankster taunts and it doesn't actually have a Dark type attack. Tailwind this turn. Yeah, that's pretty hard to deal with. Make this play, but I think it's losing, but I don't see a way to win. So, we'll just hope this works out. Rain Dance, Fortune Pulse. Oh, they didn't knock anything out. Maybe I should have Play Roughed the Tornadus, actually. I can go Koraidon, actually. Get Sun. Cut down that Swift Swim Beartic. Sort of. Then another turn of Tailwind after this. Do I sack Incineroar here? I can sack Weezing. Honestly, what is Incineroar doing for me here? Let's do that, and let's... try to get rid of this Kyogre. They actually switched Tornadus into that slot, but that's good because that means they get no more Tailwind in this game. They can get their Rain back up now, though, because I don't have Weezing on the field. If I'd switched to Weezing there, that would have been pretty cool. Yeah. But I can Terra Fire Koraidon. It's not really in that much danger this turn. Oh, no, I can't because I've already used my Terra. Uh-oh. Okay, in that case, let's fake out on Collision Course. No protects. We do get rid of Kyogre. We get Beartic back here. Now I need to start sacking things, and I think there's no reason it can't be Weezing. I'm going to switch Koraidon out so I can get the Sun back. Sack Weezing. Knock off Beartic. Get some chip into that Pokemon. Switch Weezing in on a Sacred Sword. Okay, but they double target it, so KOs. But that means they get no damage on Incineroar. I get another Intimidate here because of the way neutralizing gas works, so that's nice. I didn't even think about that part. It's Assault Vest Beartic. Gonna be in some danger now. Also, they clicked Sacred Sword into the Zacian, or the Koraidon slot, so they might not have Play Rough. Let's see. Oh, they do. Okay. But that's good. That's going to weaken Beartic's own damage, and I'm setting up for the Shadow Rider here. I actually get another Intimidate thanks to that parting shot. Probably might still lose to Zacian, but let's see. Astral Barrage. Oh, I can beat Zacian as long as I knock out the Beartic here, because if they protect around my Fake Out, then I can Encore them. And they don't. And the Astral Barrage KOs both Pokemon anyway with a crit on Zacian. And so that one got kind of dicey at some points, but Shadow Rider Calyrex did come through in the end. What a terrifying Pokemon to deal with, and we'll see if it can come through one more time. The log moved there. I think my opponent might have said something in chat, but I missed what it was. If it was GG, my bad for not saying it back. But I was leaving the game at that exact moment. Yeah, last game of the video. We'll see if the Shadow Rider can put in work once again. I've got Koraidon, Murkrow, Incineroar, Iron Bundle, Miraidon, and Corviknight, so that's a very strange team. The Corviknight is a really weird fit here, I would think, right? Because the rest of the team doesn't really seem to lend itself to bulky setup. If it's Tailwind Corviknight, then why when you have Murkrow? I really don't know what this Corviknight is for, but maybe we'll find out. This could be a good Weezing game. Maybe. Don't really know how else to approach this team from the lead position. The Shadow Rider is kind of afraid of their two dark types. The Walking Wake is kind of afraid of their faster dragon. Well, not faster after photosynthesis, but big scary dragons. Maybe I could lead Koraidon Walking Wake. Let's try Weezing Koraidon. Let's bring Walking Wake, though. Why not? It's the last battle of the video. I really like Walking Wake. It's a really cool Pokemon. I think it's probably the best execution of the Paradox Pokemon concept. One of my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon for sure, and I don't use it much, so let's bring it. And then let's just bring my other Restricted. Alright, we are going to see the Corviknight immediately. I once again feel pressured to Terra the Koraidon early. The early Terras with this team have been hurting me a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and not learn my lesson. So I'm just going to play rough into Miraidon, honestly, and Flame Charge into Corviknight. Air Fire. Okay, they Volt Switch out. Maybe there was a better move to click than play rough into Miraidon. Even Protect probably would have been better, but they get the Iron Bundle in here. Almost one-shot the Corviknight with that Flame Charge. Iron Defense, so it is a bulky setup situation. Oh yeah, don't know what they're cooking. But I'll Will-O-Wisp it. So I want Koraidon to attack Iron Bundle here, but it's okay. I'll just Flame Charge the Corviknight slot again. They protect. I want to get rid of this Corviknight so I can't roost up, is the thing. They have Icy Wind. That's okay, though. Koraidon is just set back to neutral speed. Yeah, let's do this again. I don't want to let this Corviknight off the hook. They might switch, but they do. Okay. Ah, well. Weezing is Protect locked. That's honestly not the end of the world here. Will they let me go for this Collision Course? Got Koraidon. Now they have the Icy Wind. They can All-Course, so I can't Flame Charge again. But I have my Orichalcum Pulse active and they don't, so let's just do this. They're stalling out the sun though, so pretty soon I won't have it active. They have their own Flame Charge, but I do get my Collision Course into Koraidon here, so my Koraidon wins that duel, but I am now without wheezing for the rest of the game. They can get Miraidon in, and they can activate their thing on Iron Bundle. I'm going to go Walking Wake and hope that Assault Vest really comes through for me. I guess. I don't think they Terra Fairy here. They don't, but they have Freeze Dry. But I don't think Shadow Rider Calyrex is ever winning this anyway. Now they have their Quark Drive up, so I don't know what the right way to approach this matchup was. I don't think it's a matchup you'll see too terribly often, but I was hoping to have some fun with one of my favorite Gen 9 Pokemon anyway. That was really the only reason I brought the Walking Wake. And I wouldn't say I managed to do that this game, but alright. So I didn't protect there because, again, I didn't want Corviknight to get a free roost. But that does mean they have a lot of turns of electric terrain left. And with the Calyrex at -1, I think that's GG, but I will... yeah, we don't take that. Can I win with a triple protect? Probably not, but I think it's my only out, so we'll try. And they also have the Terra Electric. Yeah, alright. So we are ending on a loss, but hey, that's how most videos go on this channel. GG to that opponent, GG to all opponents. Definitely a fun set of teams. Again, here's the one that won Utrecht, here's the one that won Santiago, and here's the one that won Melbourne. Yeah, definitely made some choices that I wasn't super familiar with in the builder, but they were some fun teams to try to figure out on the fly and position. And Red Eye is a really fun format so far. I'm really enjoying it. We are coming up on the end of the competitive season now. I hope that Reg I won't only be for these few months. I have no idea what's coming after August. We're going to be in uncharted territory next season, presumably still playing Scarlet and Violet for a 4th year, but I do hope that Reg I or something like it comes back at some point after this run, because I am really enjoying this format so far. But we still have a little bit more content in this format, actually quite a bit more to get through, a little bit more tournament content. I'll probably try that Scraggy team from Thailand, and then there's one more event in Europe, and yeah, we'll see what we get from there. So if you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and come back next time for more.